of the Art Lewis Show. Later on, we will have open phones for much of the hour, but we're going to start out talking about an event coming to the city of Saginaw this week. And to tell us about it is Keisha Smith from the Economic Development Group. Good morning, Keisha.
Good morning, Art.
Thanks for joining us. It's usually police departments and the cities run these trunk or treat events. This one has kind of a business tint to it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. We focus on giving our small businesses the opportunity to highlight their small business during the festive Halloween season. So we invite all of our small businesses here in the Great Lakes Bay to be vendors. It's free to be a vendor, and you set up your car and decorate your truck and just come and give out treats and candy to the kids on October the 23rd from 4:30 to 6:30.
And the candy is provided by the business or by the city?
The candy is provided by the business owners.
All right, and it's free to the public to take part, right?
Yes, this is an event that is free to the public. This is our third annual trunk or treat. The event has grown substantially, so substantially that we have moved it over to Celebration Park, which is located at 1830 Fortney Street, across from the YMCA. So we have the Touch a Truck, which would be there, like the firefighter trucks will be there. We'll have police vehicles. We'll have some of our inspections vehicles, so the kids will have the opportunity to come around, take pictures, touch the truck, receive treats from the vendors, as well as we will have a couple of food trucks that will be there. So come out and join us.
Well, I can tell you from yesterday that you're going to be busy, and the reason I can say that, yesterday, the Saginaw County Sheriff's Office had their trunk or treat, and I was part of it, and it was nonstop for 2 hours. And we just do a drive-through. I can't imagine what it's like if you're going to have them walking around. It's going to be interesting.
Yes, it is nonstop. So for over the past 2 years, we have noticed that it's been busy, and it seems like we just can't buy enough candy. But we're we're definitely looking for a high time and looking for a great turnout from the community. It's a free event. Come out and bring the kids, put on their costumes. We think that we're going to have good weather. Looks like it's going to be about 65 degrees, so that will be awesome. So as you stated, I'm sure we definitely will be very busy.
So, Keisha, let me ask, kind of late now, just a couple of days away, but is there still room for a business to participate if they want?
Yes, today is the last day of registration. If you would like to register and you're a small business, you can register at saginaw-mi.com/trunk or treat. And if you're a small business here in the Saginaw area or in the Great Lakes Bay area, again, you can register at saginaw-mi.com/trunk or treat. We would love to have you.
Let's talk just for a minute, Keisha, since you're the coordinator of the Saginaw Economic Development Corporation. What is that all about? Tell us about the corporation.
So the Saginaw Economic Development Corporation, we provide commercial lending to small businesses located in the city of Saginaw. You have the opportunity to borrow up to $220,000, or we have our microloan, which you have the opportunity to borrow up to $35,000. So if you're a small business, you're a startup, or your existing small business located in the city of Saginaw, you have the opportunity to gain funding for inventory, machinery, equipment, or commercial property. So if you're in the nature of small business and you need additional funding for your business, we'd love to help.
How do they get a hold of you?
So my phone number is 989-759-1395, or you can contact me at ksmith@saginaw-mi.com. We are right now housed temporarily in the Morley building at 1 Tuscola on the 3rd floor. And again, my email address is ksmith@saginaw-mi.com, or my phone number is 989-759-1395.
All right, let's remind everybody again about the trunk or treat, the wheres and whens.
Okay, the trunk or treat will be held October the 23rd from 4:30 to 6:30 at Celebration Park. The address there is 1830 Fortney Street, right across the street from the YMCA, and we will be there from 4:30 to 6:30. And we're looking for all of our small businesses to come out and support, as well as our community to come out and bring the children. Again, it's going to be held on October the 23rd from 4:30 to 6:30 at Celebration Park.
And as opposed to the one I did yesterday, which was a drive-through, this is a park and walk around, isn't it?
Yes, so all of the vendors will be parked with their trunks open and decorated, and they'll probably be wearing costumes, and they'll have their treats and candy for the children.
So children should bring buckets to walk through and see all the equipment and meet all the vendors. Very good. Well, Keisha, listen, good luck with it. I know you're going to be swamped. I know it.
Thank you.
And it's good for the business, too, isn't it?
Yes, it's definitely great exposure for the small businesses, especially coming up upon the holiday season, so that will give them some advertising and exposure to the community as to what they have and what they have to offer as well.
Excellent. Well, Keisha, thanks for spending some time with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You as well. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Keisha Smith, and she is the Saginaw the coordinator for the economic development group, if you will, Saginaw. I mean, there's a lot of economic development groups. There's Saginaw Future, and there's the small business group. Keisha is with the Saginaw Economic Development Corporation, and then there are many organizations. I don't think people realize how many people work toward building business in a community and attracting business in a community. It's a lot of effort put forth to try and build business and build jobs, obviously, in a community. All right, we're going to take a break. It's open lines for the remainder of the hour, whatever you'd like to chat about at 989-752-6111. That is the number to call.
We're proud to make
All right, we're back with you here on the Art Lewis Show. Open phones for the remainder of the hour. Just want to touch on one thing real quick before I get to the phones here. The Lions, the Detroit Lions, I have come to the conclusion, and I'm not an expert in football or anything like that, but they are for real because they do what great teams do. They find a way to win even when they're down. Yesterday, if you watched any of the game, you know that there was a fumble toward the last few minutes of the game, which set up Minnesota to win. And they got close, but they left enough time for Jared Goff to do his magic and get the team within field goal range, and Bates kicked the winning field goal. So they are now 5-1, and by virtue of having the tiebreaker, they are leading the NFC North. When was the last time we could say that? Wow. Anyhow, let's get to the phones. Albert is in Freeland. Albert, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, sir. I have a question. Since Kamala Harris is vice president and running with her campaign, is she still receiving her salary?
Yep.
Wow, is that fraud?
No. President gets the same thing.
Okay.
Every as a matter of fact, every federal politician gets the same thing. Congress isn't docked for their campaigning. The Senate's not docked for their campaigning.
Okay.
So the answer to that is yes, they do.
Thank you. I have one other question.
Sure.
When the voting starts on a given day, like for the presidential, wherever, let's say out east, they're the first ones, right?
Right.
Why doesn't the rest of the country, regardless where you're at, start simultaneously? And when
because in California, they'd probably have to get up at 4:30 in the morning.
what I'm trying to say is when one ends, they all should end.
In terms of ending?
Both ways.
Yeah, but what happens is, and the reason for it, I understand what you're saying, and I'm not totally disagreeing with you, but what happens if you did that, the districts out west would have a shortened period of time to vote because they'd have to close down earlier. Yeah, they would. Because if you close, no, listen. If listen, just a minute, Albert, just a minute. If we end our balloting here at 8:00 at night, that's only 5:00 in California, and if they're going to get the same amount of time, they'd have to start their voting at 4 in the morning.
I agree with that, but if you're in Hawaii, you still should have the same amount of time ending. Is what I'm saying.
It would be even earlier for Hawaii, even more difficult. I understand what you're saying. It's why.
If it would end at Hawaii's time, the rest of the nation would still have time to vote.
Well, if it ended at Hawaii's time, we'd be voting at midnight.
Well, it would be all simultaneously starting and simultaneously ending.
Yeah, I hear you, and I understand the equality issue. And one of the things that we, that have come to understand in these elections is the media, for the most part, doesn't project the winner until after the majority of polls, at least in the contiguous United States, are closed. They don't necessarily wait for Hawaii because it's so far out, but I understand what you're saying.
I thank you, sir, and you have a great day, will you please?
Yeah, Albert, you too. Thanks. It's a beautiful day outside. Enjoy it.
Yes, it is.
All right, sir. Thanks.
Goodbye.
Goodbye now. And let us talk to Joe in Saginaw. Joe, good morning.
Good morning, Art.
Morning.
I thought it was interesting that Tim was commenting on, the differentials and when one party or the other controls the state legislature. But I thought it was interesting, because for several years I remember talking to one of the legislators from this side of the state, and he was saying that, it takes about three times as many votes to elect a legislator on the east side of the state as it does on the west side, because we were rather gerrymandered for a while, and I think they're working on improving that. But
well, the voters worked on it. The voters forced the change so that we have. But what you notice, I mean, I understand the need to do it, but the districts are so convoluted now. If you look at a map of the district, you wonder how they ever figured them out. It's just amazing.
Indeed. And it was supposed to be a bipartisan committee that...
and we can argue about that point, too, I guess. But that's...
Well, I thought it was interesting, that when... for a number of years, when the Republican Party was pretty much in charge of the state legislature, and, our statewide votes, like for national offices, usually went to the Democrats, and yet the Michigan legislature was pretty much controlled by Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
So, interesting.
It's going to be interesting this time around to see if we...
if we have
if we change the... it's going to be interesting to see if we change the House.
Yeah.
That's the only one. The Senate's not up for vote, so we're not going to change that.
Right. I thought it was interesting, your comments on the Lions as well. I think the current coach, his great talent is that he has the Lions functioning as a team.
Yep.
I think when you...
and the other thing about it, Joe, he's one of them. He came out of the trenches as a football player, and he understands
the interesting thing is, too, that, these guys that are in the NFL, they were sort of the prima donnas in their high school and college teams and so forth. And I think, after getting all the limelight, if the coach can get them to really work as a team,
right?
They're much, and I think that's what this coach has done. He's
and I'll tell
developed
you,
a really.
I'll tell you the other thing that's a huge positive for the Lions. And that is the owner, Mrs. Ford, staying out of the way. She's letting the professionals run the team.
Yes, I think that's also an issue. So anyhow.
Big one.
Well, I just thought I'd check in.
Good. Glad you did.
So
have a great day.
You too. And, I think fall is here on everything but the calendar.
Well, just wait a few days. You'll change your mind.
Oh, yes, indeed. But it's going to be quite summery for the next few days.
I have folks going up north this weekend. They expect to see really brilliant color. And the color looks pretty good from what I've seen. Yeah. So, all right.
Yeah.
Good enough. Right. Joe, thanks for calling. Appreciate it. You bet.
Cheerio.
Bye-bye now. Cheerio. All right. Listen, the Lions, isn't it refreshing to have a couple of teams we can really cheer on? The Lions doing very, very well. There were a lot of prognosticators before the season that even predicted them to go to the Super Bowl. Who knows? Maybe they will. The way they're playing. And Joe is right. Campbell has them playing as a team. And it's fun to watch. And Dan Campbell has done a great job of preparing the team for whatever they face. It's teamwork. He preaches composure, communication, attitude, and we see the results. And now we have a guy like Jared Goff leading the team. His stats are fabulous. I mean, he's pushed very near the maximum quarterback rating the last 3 or 4 games. And what's interesting is, in the past, the Lions got into the fourth quarter, they figure a way to lose. Now, they figure a way to win, even when they haven't played a good half. Because that game yesterday, they were dominant in the first half. They were back on their heels in the second half. They did not play a great half the second half. Still, they found a way to win. All right, we're going to take a break, come back, get to more calls when we return on the Art Lewis Show.
Better access.
All right, we're back with you on the Art Lewis Show, and let's get back to our phones in Bay City. We find Tom this morning. Tom, good morning to you.
Well, good morning, Art. Thanks for taking my phone call.
Sure.
The thing I want to bring up is about voting. Isn't it funny, back in the day, you had paper ballots, you went, you casted your vote, and you found out either that night or first thing the next morning who won. Nowadays, with all this technology that we have, we don't find out for how long who won. Isn't that?
Well, some of it, I think, is how the clerks look at reporting this stuff. And I'll give you an example. Last primary election, the city of Saginaw, actually the county of Saginaw, didn't report any numbers at all until like after midnight, in the middle of the night sometime. I don't know the reason for that. I really don't. I mean, you're right. The technology is there. We still use paper ballots, by the way, which is a blessing because we can go back and check. But with all the electronics, you would think that we would have pretty much immediate results. Now, I will caution you about that. I don't know that I want unchecked immediate results. I think I want results that are certified.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just thought it was ironic with all the technology that, we couldn't find out sooner. But, hey, thanks a lot for taking my phone call.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for calling. Appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Take care, Tom. Bye-bye now.
Yeah, bye.
In Bay City, we stay there, and we talk to Chris this morning. Chris, good morning.
Good morning, Art. How are you?
Doing well, thanks.
Hey, your comedy corner killed me and brought back so many memories. Oh, my goodness.
What was it this morning? I missed it.
It was Fred Collette talking about Halloween.
Oh, yes.
Trick-or-treating.
Yep.
And you had to have a pillowcase, not a paper bag.
That depends where you lived.
I live in Bay City. I grew up here. Boy, I knew the neighborhood.
Well, in New York.
You knew where to go to get the good candy bars, maybe a toothbrush or a tennis ball.
In New York, we were. I think the statute of limitations is up, so I can tell you this. We used to go trick-or-treating in New York with a sock filled with talcum powder and a rock.
Oh, boy.
And and we also had a bucket or a bag of some kind. And if you didn't give us a treat or you didn't answer your door, guess what? That's like I said, the statute of limitations is up. But
no, I used to take us out, and he used to do the same thing. Run.
Yeah. Those were the days, boy, those memories. Oh, my goodness.
I just thought I'd bring it up.
I'm glad you did. Thanks a lot, Chris. Take care. Bye-bye now. And we'll go out to Sheridan and talk to Carol this morning. Carol, good morning.
Oh, another lovely, lovely day. Better get outdoors and enjoy it. It's going to crap out on us.
Well, that's one way of putting it.
And, I got a hint for leaf peekers. We used to ride up to Cadillac. We had a friend in a place up there. And then we would ride toward the lake. And after Wexford County, it's just like the lights go out on the color. So if you're planning to go along, the lakes, that the color isn't there yet. And I've got a weather cam that through Channel 9 and 10, and they show all the things. And along some of the places, like Cadillac is absolutely gorgeous, but the ones by the lake is still not turned yet. So
interesting.
I
wonder why that is.
If somebody's going to, because of the water keeps it warmer, and that's why your orchards are there, because... See, and that's why they put the orchards by the lake, is because it stays colder later in the spring, so you don't get as many frost, and then it stays warmer later for it to get your harvest in.
Very good.
You didn't know that?
No. Hey,
shame on you.
Remember where I'm from? New York City?
We didn't have that stuff. You should have learned by now.
Never thought of it. That's the first time I've heard that.
You've
educated me. You've educated me.
Oh, I'm really smart, I'll tell you. Really, I am. And I'm losing quite a bit of it, I think. But like Traverse up in there, the cherries. See up in that.
Well, they got hit hard this year.
Yeah, the peninsula, but a lot of that was that really heavy rain, and they had terrible winds up there. Some of the orchard, it even ripped out a lot of trees.
Mostly sweets, though. Mostly the sweets got it. I hadn't read anything.
It really whammied. It even whammied the apple orchards and stuff up through there. Some of them really, really got the wind there. But and like the Mission Peninsula, see, there's a lot of cherries on there because it's kind of like in the lake.
Yeah.
But if they want it pretty, try going up the middle of the state, but don't start over and go along the edge. It's not pretty, because it won't be.
Carol's tour advice.
Well, we've done it for
years.
60 years.
Yep. Gotcha.
50 years, and just kind of live and learn every day some fun things other than this. And I like this election because always the ones are all lying. Everybody's saying that their opponent. This gets me. All their opponent, and it's all lies
That's
from
right.
the other guy, but they tell the truth.
So which liar are we going to elect? That's it. All right.
Enjoy.
Good enough, Carol.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye now. That was Carol in Sheridan. Cynthia, hang on. We'll get to you right after these notes.
I have with me Jeff Carrick from
All right, we're back with you here on the Art Lewis Show, and let's get back to our phones. We're going to go to Midland and talk to Cynthia this morning. Cynthia, thanks for waiting. Good morning.
Good morning, Art. The gentleman that talked about the, changes with the paper voting versus being able to do it early and kind of this whole electronic feed prompted me to just give you an idea for a future segment. Recently, I received a letter telling me that my data had been compromised from a company called Change Management, which was involved in a lot of like the hospital billings and office visits and all that.
I think I got the same notice.
Right. So I just thought that, if you invited like a a bank manager or a credit union manager, they may be able to inform viewers, what to do to protect ourselves, because I just find in my circle of friends and my community, people kind of aren't doing anything, and I'm concerned about identity theft and, what they have, what they don't have.
Yep.
So my local credit union really kind of stepped me through it, but they do advocate that you freeze your credit if you're able to. And I just thought it might be a nice topic to inform, your listeners, because you have a great group of listeners out there.
Good idea.
And I just don't think anybody knows what to do.
That's a good idea. We'll see what we can do about it. Absolutely.
Right. So,
and most people don't think about it until they get that letter in the mail that says your information may have been compromised, and then they give you a year or two of free credit check and all that stuff. But you're right. Nobody thinks about it up front, and you should.
And in this case, the third-party credit manager that they were recommending, my credit union said that that's not necessarily a reliable vendor to be using. So you're do you do anything? Don't you? Kind of what is within your control. But in this day of electronics, I just felt it might be a good topic.
It is a good topic, and that is the key. What's within your control? Because
exactly,
you deal with organizations and companies every day, and you don't know who they're using to handle their data, and you're at their mercy, really.
Right, and they educated me about using a debit card versus a credit card, and why you should use a credit card and all of that.
Yeah.
And so I learned a lot, but I found when I shared information with other friends, a lot of people just hadn't done anything. And didn't, really maybe see it as serious as I thought it might be. So
that's a good idea.
So I think it would be great if you could get some sort of an expert, just kind of to talk about that and how to protect your data more, because we're all vulnerable. So
we'll work
appreciate
on
your show as always.
Thanks
so much.
Appreciate it. Thanks for calling.
Take care.
Bye-bye now. And we'll go to Fairhaven Township. And Roger, good morning.
Good morning, Art. I've said this to you before. Please don't retire.
Well, I don't have any plans. Let's put it that way. The good Lord knows my intentions. I don't know what they are.
Well, you again have put your finger on the pulse of so many issues on your show again today, and I'd like to touch on one. I just, before I called into the show, took out my monthly bill for my electric power company supplier. I won't mention it on the air.
Doesn't matter. They're well known.
Okay. Well, DTE.
Okay.
And I do it the old-fashioned way. I pay with a check every month. I don't do it electronically. I don't trust it, so I don't do it that way.
Yep.
And inside the mailing is a little flyer, customer connections they call it, and they're, of course, always directing or hoping people conserve energy. Mm-hmm. And as I open up this little flyer, on the very last thing that's in the flyer is showing an EV can save you money. And I thought to myself, how much power does it take to charge up a battery on an EV vehicle? And how many households, how many lights can be operated for the electric energy that it takes to power up one of those batteries to drive a vehicle?
Yeah. Well, you know what they're suggesting? What they're suggesting in consumers is the same way. What they're suggesting is that EVs should be charged overnight, which is the cheapest form of electricity and the time of day where the least amount of electricity is used. And what they say is it's cheaper to do that than to put gas in the car, for example. So, is it taking away from household lighting? Probably not if you're doing it that way. But if you're charging up your EV at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that's a whole other story.
Well, and the unforeseen thing that is never talked about is the amount of fossil fuel that it takes to mine for the rare earth minerals to build a battery to put in a vehicle that is already being operated by fossil fuel.
Yep.
And we're going down the wrong road.
And here's the other thing with EVs, and some people might get sucked in because of this. When they become a year or two old, used ones are very inexpensive. I had a friend of mine look at a foreign EV, and it was a very expensive EV. It was like $140,000. A 2-year-old model of that exact same EV, equipped exactly the same, 2 years old, was $90,000 less, $50,000 to buy one. You know what that tells you, though, don't you? What happens? What happens when the life of that battery is done? Either the vehicle's done or your pocketbook is done, because it's going to cost you $20,000-$25,000 to replace that battery.
Yeah, the other unforeseen cost that is never discussed.
You got it. And there's a lot more that's not discussed. They don't want you to know about. But you know what? I think I'm going out to the SEMA show in November in Las Vegas, which is an automotive thing.
Oh, yes.
And I have scheduled an interview with someone from the Aftercare Market Association about EVs. And so it's going to be interesting to see what he has to say. I'll play it when I get back home. All right, I got to run, Raj, because we're out of time.
All right, thank you, Art.
Take care. Bye-bye now. Afraid, Kitty, we're not going to get to you, but thank you for trying.
Attention homeowners, Stormmaster.
For the Art Lewis Show for this Monday. Thanks for being with us. Coming up on Focus, we're going to talk to Joe and Chris from Wood Revivers and find out about that company. All of that is ahead after the news from CBS with the world and the nation at their fingertips. And Michael Perch is going to bring you up to date on the region and the state. All of that is ahead here on WSGW. Thanks for being with us on this Monday morning. Enjoy the beautiful weather.
Broadcasting from the